Welcome everyone to the Special Pipe Analysis. We're here in the Peach versus Bowser Tour, and these rally tours are notorious for having incredible special pipes. So how will these stack up compared to past special pipes? I'll be breaking down the numbers, the odds, and probability for obtaining these items. There's no spotlights in this, so it's going to be a bottomless pit. If you all appreciate the data-driven approach and the numbers breakdown, please show your support with the channel by leaving a like on this video and subscribing. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world in facilitating more of this kind of content. Now, these pipes are 12% high-end odds, which is incredible, right? That means that there's going to be 6 high-ends out of 50 pipes. And I'm going to be breaking down the statistics into the Team Peach pipe and the Team Bowser pipe. So we'll start on the Peach side of things. By the way of the drivers, we have Peach Vacation, we have Pink Gold Peach, and Pauline Party Time. Peach Vacation has 16 tracks of assumed value courses and 21 tracks overall, so 5 of those tracks are nitro tracks. In the way of unique courses for coin boxers, right? Since all of the items, at least the drivers in these pipes, are possessing the coin box special skill, we see that she has 5 unique assumed value courses to all of the coin box drivers, in addition to 4 of those nitro tracks, right? Should they ever return to the game, are unique among the coin box drivers, and that is often the case in the way of nitro courses. The overlap is much more limited compared to those of the assumed value courses, and that's because those are locked behind certain events during the year, whereas the assumed value courses can be in play at any time during the year. Pink Gold Peach has 18 courses of assumed value and 18 overall, so she has 0 nitro courses. In addition to that, Pink Gold Peach also has her own cup, right? So we have the Pink Gold Peach cup, which can offer a shelf boost to her driver on all the 3 tracks that are in play, which means that she can go from the middle shelf to the top shelf. So this draws relevance to her middle shelf value, enhancing the capabilities that she already possesses. Similar to what we've been looking at with the Mii's, that 18 courses of assumed value has the potential to be raised by her middle shelf course total. Now, of those 18 courses that she possesses permanently in the top shelf at a maximum level, 5 of them are unique among the coin box population to just herself. So PGP still stands the test of time. And then we move on to Pauline Party Time. We'd forgotten about Pauline, right? She's been available in basically all of the New Year's pipes, a lot of the celebratory pipes, but she has very little unique assumed coin box value to her name. She only has 1 unique coin box track, and that is DK Pass R, right? So even the new one that she picked up, Koopa Cape, has overlap with Yoshi Gold Egg. Now, one thing that Pauline Party Time does have going for her is that she's a heavyweight coin boxer. So if you happen to have her at the same level as any other coin box driver, she's always going to be the superior option, right? She's never going to be counterfeit. The downside, of course, is that very limited unique value that she presents, and her overall course number is only at 22, right? And only 15 of those 22 will be in the way of assumed value courses. So she's very nitro course heavy. Of those 7 nitro courses, 6 are unique to her, but once again, it's like, when will we ever see these again, right? The relevance of those courses is at most, 1 time per year, maybe 2 times per year, and certainly not in the way of ranked mode. Next up, we have the Team Bowser drivers, right? There's a lot more relevant value here in the way of the larger coin box metagame. That starts with Santa Bowser, who has enormous value, being a heavyweight coin box driver similar to Pauline Party Time. Is never going to be counterfeit. But unlike Pauline Party Time, Bowser Santa has an enormous number of unique assumed value courses among the coin box population. That's at 6. 6 of the 17 courses that he has in the way of assumed retro courses are unique, and then 23 total tracks, so 4 of those nitro tracks are also unique to Bowser Santa. Next up, we have a very underrated coin box driver because he is a lightweight, right? Gold Koopa free running has been around the block. Initial gold pass reward from the first year of the game. Only has 17 assumed value courses, 21 tracks overall, so that's 4 nitro tracks. But of those 17 assumed value courses, 7 of them, yes, 7 of them are unique to just Gold Koopa free running. So he remains among one of the most unique and necessary coin box drivers within that metagame, right? If you're investing all in on the coin box drivers, Gold Koopa free running, despite the small stature, the statue is just all the much larger when we take a look at the composition of courses that he offers that strategy overall. And of those 4 nitro tracks, only 2 of them have unique coin box value. And then we get to Kamek, one of the most recent coin box drivers, one that is still especially strong in the game, despite a number of those initial unique courses being taken up by other more recent and superior coin box options. It's Kamek. He has 22 assumed value courses. 5 of them still remain unique, and then he has 8 nitro courses, and 5 of those are unique as well. So from overall course count, Kamek still offers a significant amount of course coverage, but he does have a lot of overlap. And how I want to emphasize that is just by pulling up the optimal coin box driver combinations for the drivers in the Team Peach pipe and the drivers in the Team Bowser pipe. And this is quite simple. Also highlights the degree of overlap that exists among the coin box special skill, which I'll be going into significant detail in my next piece of comprehensive content, which is right around the corner, folks. So stay tuned for that. It's going to really highlight and redefine the metagame in many ways, and I'm so excited to bring that forward. But just to take a slice of information from the coverage optimizer tool, just looking at coin box drivers alone, all of the drivers in the Team Peach pipe have the same optimal pairing, which is to say, if we introduce 2 coin box drivers, if you're an account of limited means, what's the way that you can get the most tracks from just coin box drivers? And for the Team Peach drivers, that is Peach Vacation, PGP, as well as Pauline Party Time, those 2 coin box drivers are Meowser and King Bob-omb Gold. Now, if we're looking at Team Bowser's side of the pipe, right, we have Bowser Santa, we had Gold Koopa free running, and we have Kamek. The optimal teammates then shifts slightly. We still have Meowser as the optimal teammate for all 3 of these. However, instead of King Bob-omb Gold, we have Tuxedo Mario as the second additional partner with which to apply optimal course coverage for these coin box drivers. And the point of emphasis, which really highlights just how much overlap these drivers have, is we saw Kamek is a powerhouse relative to the others in terms of assumed value count. However, the driver that possesses the optimal combination among coin box drivers, among the ones that are in these pipes, is actually Peach Vacation, because her composition of assumed value courses is more unique than all the other ones with respect to the top coin boxers that are available. So that's 60 courses of value between Peach Vacation, Meowser, and King Bob-omb Gold. All right, so the other ones fall between 54 and 59 tracks, and that includes Kamek, who has a number of overlaps with Tuxedo Mario and Meowser. Now let's take a look at the karts in these pipes, and the karts all kind of fill in the same kind of niche, which is to say that none of them are still significant coverage powerhouses, right? So these aren't ones that are going to form optimal combinations at a lower combination size, right? Those things have moved on to more recent, more exclusive items. However, I do want to note that pretty much the vast majority of the karts in both the Team Peach and the Team Bowser pipes do present optimal course combinations for kart sizes that are vast, right? So these are combinations that are 8+ in size. Many of these options appear in the optimal combinations. So if you're someone who is very well invested, if you have an older account that has a lot of power in it, then these cards still present a good amount of value for those kinds of players. If you're a newer player, the kind of value that you can expect to get from these is a little bit more sparse, but even still, we'll go through the numbers here, and you can make that assessment for your own based on your unique account's position. Starting with the Team Peach pipe, we have the Wild Pink, right? And this one has 18 assumed value courses, 7 nitro courses, so that's 25 total. The Wild Pink is available in the standard high-end selection of all the pipes that exist out there. So we can pull it in the all clear pipe, in the gold token shop pipe, which we'll be doing at the end of this program, so stay tuned everyone. Next up, we have the Rose Queen, which was initially a pay exclusive item, but it has been trickled out in the past year through a couple of special pipes, and its value was enormous in the first year of the game. 19 assumed value courses, 0 nitro courses, so it's all meat and potatoes, 19 total tracks. It still only forms optimal combinations within a selection of carts at larger quantities. So this isn't a current metagame player, but it is very good in terms of looking at a larger selection of items. And then we get to the Rose Taxi, just 30 total courses, but 9 of that is assumed value. So it's sitting there with 21 assumed value courses. And this one, despite being released in the past 15 months or so, is still just never made it over the hump in terms of becoming a top meta cart, right? It was hovering around that top 15 range, and it just, it didn't get over the top, so it just kind of stayed in the middle of the pack there. What it can do for you is going to be largely dependent upon what you already have access to, but it is a powerful cart, but nothing significantly defining about it within the complete metagame. Now we move on to the Team Bowser carts, and we have a little bit of a stinker here. We have the Holiday King, right? Kind of shows the age of, an older holiday exclusive item. 21 courses overall, 4 of that's nitro, so 17 assumed value courses. It's probably the weakest cart in the selection overall. One that doesn't really appear in many optimal combinations. Next up, we have the Gold Cheap Charger, and this one is actually a little bit underrated. It has 27 total tracks, 21 assumed value, and this one does appear in a number of combinations for optimal cart sizes with a larger selection. And the reason why it's not like a standard metagame cart is, one, the hitbox isn't very large on it, and secondly, it's filling in a lot of these older courses, right? So it hasn't been given, many brand new paywall tracks. It's one of, the older gold items in the pipe, but it does have a nice selection of those courses. So look to see what that cart can do for your situation. And then we get to Kamek Zoom Broom, which is more recent, has 21 courses of assumed value, 29 overall. So that's looking at 8 nitro courses. Kamek Zoom Broom actually does form optimal cart combinations at the smallest size out of all the carts that are available in either pipe. So Kamek Zoom Broom, still pretty relevant in the metagame, was once a powerhouse for a short time, but has since dipped off, right? It didn't have the same kind of value as the glider in the Kamek set, the Dream Glider possessed. So it was just a hair off of like what the value that the Silver King represented from that same time period. The Kamek Zoom Broom, still very good. Actually, in relationship to the Silver King, offers more optimal combinations of courses just based on its composition that it was given, right? So what the Kamek Zoom Broom brings to the table melds better with other top course coverage carts than does, some objectively but individually superior carts that are out there. So that's something you want to take a look at within your own account. See if Kamek Zoom Broom can make much of a difference for you. And once again, this is a standard high-end now, so this is one that you don't need to pull on this pipe in order to obtain. And lastly, we take a look at the gliders, and there's some really interesting selections. We have a non-spotlight special pipe debut of the pink gold meteors, so you know what that means. This one has a little bit of a value alert attached to it. Relatively newer, it was introduced in the Space Tour. There's 24 tracks of assumed value, 19 assumed courses. So the value on this one isn't totally written. These pink gold meteors are presenting a lot of the newer courses, right? The ones that are repeated in tours more frequently than as the older generation of assumed value courses out there. So this is probably the prize of the entire glider pool, since it possesses the most current relevance and also presents with that the most forward mobility in terms of receiving buffs compared to that of a lot of these older gliders, like the Sunset Balloons has 27 courses, so a superior count, 22 assumed, so this was a very strong glider. But this was a 2020 debut item, so the amount of future buffs that it can receive is greatly limited compared to that of the pink gold meteors. And the Rose Parasol is a little bit newer than the Sunset Balloons, 33 courses overall, wow. But a dozen of them are nitro, so we only have 21 assumed value courses. We've covered the Rose Parasol in a lot of past special pipe analysis, so feel free to go back and check out the entire playlist. Also worth noting that those Sunset Balloons are in the standard high-end pool, so once again, you don't need to be pulling on this pipe in order to obtain the Sunset Balloons. But keep in mind that as more items have flooded into that standard selection, it's a little bit over 1% in order to obtain any single one of them. But given the amount of times that we highlight that this is a standard high-end, while your odds for pulling a specific one in just the all-clear pipe on any tour aren't very good, collectively it is. So if you're looking at things from a specific way, yes, going into this pipe is the best way to obtain it. But remember, none of these are spotlights, so there's not a guarantee for any single item in this pipe, and we'll review that when we check out the odds for your chances to obtain these items in the pipe. But first, let's move on to the Team Bowser side of the gliders. And similar to the Holiday King, the Jolly Bells just kind of fall a little bit flat. 21 courses, 15 assumed. That's got like some year one syndrome, even though that was technically the second year of the game. It was only shortly after, right? And holiday exclusive older items tend to just reek of this kind of limited value. They look nice though, so at least they have that much going for it. In the way of more value, we have the Gold Crane, right, which debuted as a non-spotlight item in the gold pipe from the first year. 27 courses overall, 21 assumed. That was one of the best gliders at that time, and it's still a very good glider. Can form some optimal combinations at a larger size of gliders, but it's really not much of a meta player anymore. So it's more of an account specific powerhouse. You want to check out your own inventory to see just what that's presenting. Then we have the Dream Glider, which is more of a meta cart. 28 courses of overall value, 23 assumed. So this is what we're talking about in comparison then to Kamek Zoom Broom. Had just that little bit extra, and what that little bit extra does is it pushes it ahead and allows it to shine above the other items that are currently powerhouses within the meta, right? So the Dream Glider isn't currently the #1 glider. That position has since been passed on to other gliders such as the Golden Wings, right? But it still remains in the top 10. It's an extremely strong glider and still presents optimal combinations of gliders in some intermediate sizes, like the 6 to 8 range is where it starts to show up in some optimal combinations, but not before that point. So that about wraps up the value of the drivers, karts, and gliders in this pipe. Once again, if you found this to be informational and helpful in some way, please show your support with the channel. According to data mining, these pipes each possess 12% high-end odds, which means they have 6 high-end since there are 50 pipes. And the traditional breakdown for these types of pipes that have drivers, karts, and gliders is therefore in the past been a 2-2-2 distribution, right? So you have a 2% chance of obtaining a high-end driver, kart or glider for their respective categories. So if we're going into this pipe and there's just one that you specifically want, like let's say if you just want Santa Bowser, or if you just want Pauline Party Time, whatever that interest may be for you, or Kamek, right? Some of the ones that might be of note for members out there in the community, then what are your chances for obtaining it in just a single drain, right? If you have 225 rubies saved up, it's not a guarantee to pull on any single one of these items. So let's check out what your odds would be in the worst case scenario. So we start off with the full range of possibilities. Here we have 1, which represents 100% of the total amount of outcomes. And then we're going to be taking a look at the selection of items that are in this pipe. Now this applies for each of drivers, karts, and gliders. There's 3 items per selection. So if we're just targeting specifically 1, then there's 2 of those items in that particular selection that we wouldn't be looking to obtain. So we do 2 divided by 3, and then we set the exponent to the number of high-end trials that we would be observing within that pipe. So since the breakdown is going to be 2, 2, 2 within a single drain, should those items be at or near the bottom, then we would see only 2 high ends per a single drain. And we can see then that our odds for obtaining any specific item, whether that be a driver, kart, or glider, would be 55.6%. So this could apply to the Dream Glider, for instance, the Gold Crane, or the Rose Queen, right? Which isn't great odds, to be honest with you. I mean, really, the point at which I would personally feel comfortable recommending a single drain on these pipes for a specific item would be about 2 to 1, about 67%. And you really want to see that above 3 to 1, 75%, and so on. Certainly it becomes a lot more favorable when you see outcomes that are in the high 80s and low 90s, by the way, percentage. So then let's expand and say, okay, we have 450 rubies saved up. Then what are our chances for obtaining that one specific item, right? That Santa Bowser out there that you may want. Well, it's the same calculation then, right? So we do 2 divided by 3. But in this case, we're going to set the exponent to 4. Now you can improve your odds by, when you're beating the pipe, if you have more than the amount of high ends relative to the remaining number of pipes that are left, then you would reset, right? So if you pull on the pipe and you obtain 2 high ends in your first pull, well then you're going to want to reset. But it's not so simple, because if you're targeting a specific item, like say a driver, and you're getting all the high end value on the karts and gliders, well then, you know, if you're resetting, you're moving the stick forward of the number of rubies that you're setting in order to obtain that driver, right? So when you're going for that specific thing, that's why I don't put a huge emphasis on resetting the pipe, because you specifically would need the drivers, or let's say if you're going in for a kart, then you would specifically need the karts to hit early in the pipe before resetting. But anyway, worst case scenario, should you need to drain these pipes out, would be 4 high ends for 2 drains. So this would be 450 rubies. And we can see the odds then are 80.2%. So that's a bit healthier, right? That's nearly exactly 4 to 1 on your odds there. But remember, it's still not a guarantee. You know, 1 out of 4 people, okay, granted slightly less if you're doing a reset strategy, which you should be doing. There's going to be people who miss out on these items, so be oh so careful, folks. Don't bite off more than you can chew going into these pipes, and that's because they are a bottomless pit, right? You can spend 700 rubies, 900 rubies, and still miss out, right? The chances are low, mind you, but there's always someone out there that is going to fit within that part of the distribution of possibilities that can occur. It's all random number generation here. So to finish off this episode, what we're going to do is fire the final free pipe for the Peach versus Bowser pipe 1, and then I'll fire on the token shop gold pipe. What can we get? So exciting. So it's basically like we have 2 all clear pipes this tour. So first we're going to start with the freebie on the weekly pipe. It's a greener, so we haven't had much luck in the way of these, and that continues. It's just been a steady dose of normals. Yeah, definitely stagnates the account a bit, but we have a chance for some better outcomes, right? Some greener pastures, or should I say golder pastures? Anyway, let's fire it and see what we get. Guaranteed gold, so there's going to be no surprise when we see this screen, but the surprise will be in what comes out of it, right? Okay, Banana Master. This is not a bad pull. Certainly it fits with the items theme to my account, but it's got very little value, especially it requires very large cart combination sizes to see any kind of optimization implications there. So not a very good pull, but not a total disaster or a waste at all. So anyway, I do hope you all have better luck than that on your pipe pulls. Let me know how you do in the comments below. As always, you can share them on the Discord server too. Our discussions are numerous and wonderful. Can't thank you all enough for the activity and excitement that you bring to Mario Kart Tour. It's really fun times. Stay tuned for that optimal presentation for just what the Mario Kart Tour metagame actually looks like, right? Some really exciting paradigm shifting concepts will be introduced in that presentation, and along with that we will be launching the coverage optimizer tool that's created and developed by a turtle dude. So hope this was beneficial to you all. Take care, everyone.